So as this is probably one of the more technical blogs that I've done, I've um I've got some pretty pictures to accompany it. So I'm going to be talking about UTM tags. UTM stands for Urchin Tracking Module, which is as obscure as UTM. Um, and what these basically are is a way of getting to know more about where people are coming from and why they're coming to you. But probably more importantly, getting to know that the return on investment of your time or even your money, if you're employing someone to do it, is worthwhile. So the initial setup is obviously that when you've got your website and you've got a user that comes to your website from wherever, that interaction is recorded in your Google Analytics. They might come from Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever. It's recorded as a referrer URL, so you can see how effective those channels are at bringing people to your site. If you've got AdWords as well, if you're using Google AdWords, then the Google AdWords will do slightly more than that. It'll tell you how much your specific campaigns have brought in. And so those are basic, fairly basic stats you're getting. So I'm presuming you've got Google Analytics set up, and I'm presuming that whatever you're using is set up correctly. If you're using e-commerce, it's reporting conversion, so you know how much, how. So Analytics knows when somebody's spent some money on your site and stuff. So that's what I'm assuming you know now. The next bit is, although you currently know what somebody is, generically that somebody's come from Facebook or Twitter, you can see that the percentage of people coming from either of those. What you may not get is are you getting the return on the investment of your time, or if you're doing adverts on Facebook, is that paying off? So you need to go a bit further. You need to kind of understand the interactions between your specific sharing exploits, as it were, on social media platforms. So when a user hits one of your social media adverts and then comes to your site, you want to track that interaction, so you know where they've come from and specifically how they've got to you, what caused them to click to your site, and that's where the UTM tag comes in. So the UTM tag, what it's going to do, it's going to build up a set of parameters to pass to Google. So you'll start with your web address, and then you're going to add some parameters to the end of it. And I'll show you this now. So the first one I'll show you, and this is the first of 3 that are required. There are 5 in total. There are 3 required. I'm only going to cover 4 because the 5th one will tip this into complicated mode. So this is the first one. This is the source. And source, to me, is obvious. It's where it's come from. Facebook, Twitter, Google if you're using Google AdWords, but Google does that for you, so you don't need to. Newsletter, that kind of thing. So that's the source. Now, if you're using source, it's a good idea to have a consistent source. So don't type it as Fbook one day and Facebook the next day or whatever. So if you use the same thing each time, Analytics will build up the source for this is coming. And as you drill down, you'll see it spread out. So source, where it's come from, Facebook, Twitter, email, that kind of stuff. And then the medium. So the next one is the medium. So how it was delivered. And you probably want to be descriptive of this, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to sort of look back at this and work out whether the thing you did was worth it. So I've got post here. So I would say that was you typed something. If you had a picture, I'd make sure you made it aware that picture post. And again, if you use the same terminology, if you use picture post on all of your different times you upload this, you'll see how effective a picture post is against, say, a text post. So that's the medium. That what were you delivering? So that'd be a post, an email. It'd be that kind of thing. Thirdly is campaign. Okay, so that's how you'd group these together. So if you're, like I've got here, summer sale, that's how you'd group the things you're doing together into one. Um, and in Google Analytics, it'll group them, as the whole thing. So if you're doing 5 or 6 adverts across different social media platforms, you'd want to have them all in the same campaign, so you can see how effective that individual campaign has been. What you don't want to do is have a campaign for every single thing you share, because then you can't sort of judge against any of the campaigns you've done. So yeah, so that's the campaign. The fourth one, and it's a separate one, is just the content, and this is so you can kind of measure how effective a link has been against another link in the same place. And the best example of this, if you're sending a newsletter, and maybe you've got a 3-section newsletter, and in the top section you use a button to say, I don't know, shop now or click here or whatever. And the second section you use a text link. So in the top you could put the content for one of them, you could put button link. The next one you could put text link. It'll be in the same campaign from the same source with the same medium, but the content will be different. So you'll be able to see which one of those two perform better. And the next time you do it, you think, right, the next one, we'll put them all as text links because they got more clicks. And that's kind of one of the key things you're doing with UTM tags is you're A, finding out how effective they've been, and B, you're able to drill down into improving for the next time you do a social media post. Okay, so that's the link itself. What I'll show you now is the result of somebody clicking on that link. So I'll fire up an analytics page and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm in Google Analytics here. On the left hand side we've got acquisition, and then campaigns and all campaigns, and you'll see I've got some campaigns here. Now, I'm not pointing any fingers, but these aren't the greatest of campaigns that have been created. I'm going to use, there's one here called Glitter Lips. I mean, I know this is the Google one, so I'll use this one. So this is a campaign here, and you'll see here, because it's been set up properly, you'll see, I'm not going to teach you how to read analytics, but you'll see what's gone on there all the way through to the revenue that's been created by that campaign. So you're seeing the return on the investment in the time of that one. If I click on Glitter Lips there, you'll see the source and the medium as Google. Yeah. And you can see more details there. So if you create your source, your medium, your content, if you do that all correctly, when you're looking through this report here, you'll be able to drill down into it quite quickly and say, right, we need to do more on Facebook, or we need to do less on Instagram, or that kind of stuff. So you'll see where your links are coming from. So it's a good place to get an idea if the time you're spending on your Facebook and your Twitter posts and stuff is worthwhile. Okay, so there are 2 good resources for UTM tags. Probably the main one is the Google URL Builder. Just Google. I would give you the address, but it's a bit long. Just Google URL Builder. You'll get to the actual Google one here, and you'll see it tells you all about it, all the bits and pieces you need to know. And at the bottom here, we've got a form where you fill in all the details. Here, and at the bottom, if you generate the URL. And the only problem with that is that you've got to do it for each individual time you do it. There's some good stuff there. A resource that I'm starting, you only found it the other day, but it would prove to be very good if I used UTMs all the time, but I don't, because I'm not really selling anything. But if you go to utmtag.com, sign up to it and stuff, you basically get a system where I think you can tag 100 tags a month for free, and then beyond that you have to pay a small fee for it. What we've got here basically is it wants the address you're going to send, and I think I've got a YouTube, my YouTube channel in there, and then you've got a number of campaigns you can have here. So I've got 2 already. I've got YouTube up. I've got the optional content and the optional term that I can put in. If I just click on tag link, it'll create Oh, it's told me I've already done it. I did it. Yes, I did it. You can't do it more than once. So I'll show you where that was. There's the tag links. I've already done it, and it's here. Yeah. So here's my previously tagged YouTube link. So that single link I put in, it's created 4 links for me to share: Facebook, Twitter, Google, and LinkedIn. And you can see on the you can have a look at the content and see what I've put under those. And if you go into the campaigns, you can create an individual campaign, manage those, and you can change these as you so wish. Okay. And you can have these 2 times, or you could set these 2 if you wanted to as well. Yeah, so that's two good resources to look into. The URL builder and utmtag.com. They're worth a visit because they do make the process a bit easier. It might seem a bit daunting, but it's worth doing because you might be pouring money down the drain, or you might be underutilizing one of the things you're doing. You might be making loads of money off not many posts, and and if you just focus on those things, you might make even more money. So it's a bit geeky. It's a bit, yeah, it's just very geeky. But it's worth doing because you could make more money out of this, or stop wasting money, which I suppose are equally important. Yeah, done.